So welcome back sa subject natin which is the Chem 114, Chemistry for Engineers. So after natin ng discussion from the electrochem, nuclear chem, and then sa fuels, proceed na tayo sa material science and engineering. So here in material science and engineering, we actually have series of topics. So, bago tayo mapunta sa series of topics natin, konting introduction muna tayo about material science and engineering. So, first is introduction. So, this is historical perspective lang about material science. So, the beginning of the material science, people started to make tools from stone, start of the Stone Age about 2 million years ago. So, before pa, so specifically the Stone Age is gumagamit na talaga yung mga sinaunang tao ng tools, no? So, yung iba gawa sa bato, yung mga kahoy, yung mga et cetera, di ba? So, kung makikita nyo yung architecture natin before, nung Stone Age pa is, di ba, yung iba gawa sa bato, yung iba sa kuweba. So, considered yun as a Stone Age. And then ginagamit ng mga sinuunang tao yung mga stones as their tools. So next is 5,000 years ago naman, na-introduce naman yung tinatawag natin na Bronze Age. So eto, mas advanced ng konti to sa Stone Age. So dito, medyo natuto nang gumamit yung mga sinaunang tao ng metal. So natuto na silang yung magpanday-panday or mag gumawa ng mga materials out of metal. So next is the Iron Age, began about 3,000 years ago and continues today. So hanggang ngayon, nasa Iron Age pa rin naman tayo. So the use of iron and steel, so a more durable and cheaper material, changed the daily life of an ordinary person drastically. So lastly is the age of advanced materials. So throughout the Iron Age, many new types of materials have been introduced such as yung mga ceramics, semiconductors, polymers, composites. So ito yung mga advanced materials na meron na tayo ngayon. So first is the classification of materials. And then first on the list is the metals. So materials in this group are composed of one or more metallic element. So such as iron, aluminum, copper, titanium, gold, and nickel. So sa mga materials kasi na na common na ginagamit natin for materials engineering, so yung mga metals na nandun sa may periodic table natin, ang most common na nagagamit talaga is iron, di ba? So iron, yan yung mga aluminum, copper, titanium, gold, and nickel. So different metals have different properties, no? So iba-ibang metal, iba-iba yung gamit pagdating sa materials engineering. So often also non-metallic elements, ayan, nagagamit din sa material engineering or materials engineering yung mga non-metal elements such as carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen, especially carbon which is capable for magkaroon ng network covalent solid bonds na very useful pagdating sa engineering. So, ayan. So atoms in metals and their alloys are arranged in very orderly manner. So, syempre kapag metals and then kapag na-arrange sila in orderly manner, let's assume na in solid form sila. So, ito yung mga examples natin ng metals. Yan yung mga forks, knives, and bread knife, yung mga ganyan, scissors, coins, yan, kadalasan gawa sa iron yan and then sa nickel. And then yung mga jewelries natin, yan yung gold, and yung mga CDs, yan. So, yung mga bolts natin na useful for engineering, ayan, yung mga yan. And then, syempre, yung mga iron beam, yung mga ginagamit natin for buildings, di ba? Yan. Yung mga iron beams, yung mga, basta yung mga bakal na nilalagay sa haligi. I don't know kung ano yung tawag doon specifically, pero yan, yung mga yun, di ba? Nagsisilbi sila as skeleton nung mismong building na tinatayo natin. So next is the ceramics. So ceramics are compounds between metallic and non-metallic elements. So they are most frequently oxides, ayan, nitrides, and carbides. So oxygen, nitrogen, and carbon. So for example, some of the common ceramic materials include aluminum oxide or yung alumina or yung formula niya is Al2O3, and then silicon dioxide or silica or SiO2, and then silicon carbide or SiC, silicon nitride Si3 and 4, And in addition, what some refer to as traditional ceramic, so those composed clay materials, ayan yung mga porcelain, as well as cement and glass. So yung mga cement daw, yung mga glass, considered sila as ceramics. Ayan, ginagamit din natin yan syempre, lalo na sa engineering, yung mga buildings natin. Syempre, kailangan natin ng mga glasses for windows, mga ganon. And then, syempre, cement, di ba? So, yung cement, halo-halong materials yung meron doon. No? So, sa mga ceramics naman kasi, majority kasi ng mga, ano dito, ng mga compounds, katulad ng silicon carbide and then silicon dioxide, both of them are non-metals, pero they are capable of forming network solids. And then yung alumina is, syempre, ionic compound to. So, third is with regard to mechanical behavior, ceramic materials are relatively stiff and strong. Diba? Stiffness and strengths are comparable to those of the metals. Kahit hindi sila metal, may kukumpara mo sila sa metal sa tibay nila, di ba? Pero syempre, it depends sa pagkakagawa ng ceramic mo. So next is the polymers. So polymers include the familiar plastics and rubber materials. Atoms share electrons to form covalent bonding. So dito naman, kadalasan yung mga polymers natin is made out of non-metals. So polymers are soft, pliable, low strength, low density, thermal, and electrical insulators. And optically translucent or transparent. Majority ng mga polymers, ganun, di ba? Yung mga plastics, no? So, marami tayong example of polymers. And then yung mga polymers na yon, so kung yung mga polymers na yon is pwede sila makagawa ng iba't ibang klaseng materials depending on their chemical properties. No? And then, syempre, kapag because of their chemical properties, naapektuhan din yung physical properties na meron sila. So, many of them are organic compounds. Ayan. Mga organic compounds sila. Pag sinabi natin organic compounds, it composed of carbon, hydrogen, and other non-metallic elements such as oxygen, nitrogen, and silicon. So, some of the common familiar polymers are polyethylene, yung mga polyethylene or PE, and then yung mga nylon, ayan, di ba mga ginagamit yan sa mga, sa constructions. Nylon, yung polyvinyl chloride, o yung tinatawag natin na PVC, na kadalasan ginagamit natin for PVC pipes. Yung mga pipe natin. And then polycarbonate or PC, polystyrene, PS, and then silicone rubber. So, iba't ibang klaseng polymers, iba't ibang klaseng uses. Next is the composite. So, a composite is composed of two or more individual materials which come from the categories, pwedeng metals, ceramics, or polymers. So, composites are made of different materials in intimate contact. For example, fiberglass. Ayan, di ba? Si fiberglass is ano siya, yung mixture siya ng ceramic and then ng polymers. And then yung mga concrete, ayan, yung wood, and then to achieve specific properties. Ayan, para syempre, iba-iba yung kanilang properties. Specifically, yung physical properties na meron sila. Ay, mga example natin dyan, ito yung mga yan. Ayan. Kadalasan kasi sa constructions ginagamit tong mga to. So for your ano lang, for your other information lang, so ito mga supplementary videos to na kailangan nyo rin naman panoorin. So ito lang naman yung link, ibibigay ko rin naman yung PowerPoint. So you can click yung mga links na to. So about lang naman yan sa materials, sa material science. Yun, lahat yung dalawa na yan. So next is the future of material science. So the design of materials having specific desired characteristics directly from our knowledge of atomic structure. So the emerging new materials are the following. So first is the miniaturization. So engineered nanostructure materials or yung ENM with a microstructure that has length scales between 1 and 100 nanometers. So with unusual properties, so electronic components, materials for quantum computing, yung miniaturization na to, ginagamit to, 'di ba, sa mga nanochips, mga ganon. So ito na yung future ng material science. Kadalasan kasi yung mga chips na ganon is made out of very small na metals, ganon. Next is smart materials. Ayan, yung mga airplane wings that devices themselves, building that stabilize themselves in earthquake. Mga smart materials, part din sila ng math sci or ng material science. No? Kaya nakakalipad yung airplanes and then kung bakit stabilize yung mga building during earthquakes, di ba? Kaya kahit na lumilindol, ang nangyayari kasi sa mga matataas na building is parang sumusunod lang din sila sa may galaw ng lindol, di ba? Para sila may bearing doon sa ilalim ng lupa. I don't know kasi hindi naman ako engineer, pero that's the idea. Parang ganun siya. Third is the environment-friendly materials, of course. Ayan. Part pa rin ng material science yan. Of course, the biodegradable or yung mga photodegradable na mga plastics para makatulong syempre sa environment. And then advances in nuclear waste processing and etc. So, the first topic for the math sci or material science will be crystals. So, pasok na tayo sa crystals topics. No. So, crystal structures of solid yung first. So, meron tayong two types of crystals or two types of solids. So first is the crystalline solids. So a solid that contains a regular and repeating atomic or molecular arrangement over large atomic distances. So ito yung long range order. Examples are metals, ceramics, and some polymers. Next is the non-crystalline solid naman, or minsan tinatawag natin siya na amorphous or vitreous. So it is a solid without long-range ordering atom molecules. So example are some ceramics and most polymers. So for you to be able to easy to determine what is the difference between a crystalline solid and an amorphous solid is titingnan nyo lang yung kanilang structure. So for crystalline solid, ito yung structure niya. So ayan, kung makikita niyo yung layering niya is very organized yung kanyang layering. So that is an example of crystalline solid. And then kung i-compare mo the crystalline solid into an amorphous solid is it is more durable compared to the amorphous solid. So for the amorphous solid naman, so makikita niyo may mga vacant siya or meron siyang mga gaps. So hindi well organized yung atoms na meron siya. No? Kadalasan kasi kaya nagiging ganyan yung itsura ng amorphous solid, it has a different compounds na present diyan sa may amorphous solid. Unlike for crystalline, kadalasan kasi pure yung nandyan. Kaya nagkakaroon ng mas organized siya. Unlike for amorphous na hindi siya masyadong organized because hindi siya pare-parehong mga compounds yung present doon. For example, for crystalline solid, lahat to carbon. And then for amorphous solid, kunyari, meron siyang carbon, meron siyang oxygen, meron siyang sulfur, and kung anik-anik. Kaya nagkakaganyan yung itsura niya. And then syempre, the amorphous solid is more brittle naman compared to crystalline solids. So, mas marupok siya. So, meron tayong types of solid materials. First is the atomic solids. So, individual atoms that are held together by dispersion forces form an atomic solid. So their melting and boiling point and heats of vaporization and all are very low. Mabilis silang malusaw, no? So mabilis silang malusaw at mabilis silang mag-boil. So rising smoothly with increasing molar masses. So examples natin ay mga solid noble gases. For example, yung frozen argon. So yung frozen argon is an example of an atomic solid. So examples of atomic solids ay yung mga pure metals, yung mga silicon crystals, and then yung diamond. No? Pero in this case, yung ibang pure metal and then yung diamond, syempre, kadalasan mas mataas yung kanilang boiling point kasi nakadepende yon sa pagkakaayos ng crystal lattices na meron sila. And then sa properties na meron yung individual metals. Next is the molecular solids. So individual molecules occupy the lattice points. Now, so nonpolar molecules or dispersion forces, and then polar molecules or dipole-dipole forces and H bonding. So kung doon sa may atomic solids natin, kadalasan kasi ito ay lang siya, yung pure element lang, single element lang. For molecular solids, pwedeng iba-iba. No? So for example, yan yung frozen methane. So ang frozen methane is composed of carbon and hydrogen. So carbon and then apat na hydrogen. So molecular solids have higher melting points than the atomic solids or yung mga nasa noble gases. Of course, kasi iba-iba yung atoms na meron dito. Kasi nga molecule na siya. So intermolecular forces are still relatively weak. So the melting points are much lower than those of ionic metallic. Yon, sa mga yon. And then, syempre, yung end covalent network to, yung isa dito. So, mas mababa yung mga molecular solids. And then, syempre, example natin, ayun, yung sucrose. Sucrose is sugar. And then, yung mga solid carbon dioxide or yung tinatawag natin na, anong tawag doon? Dry ice. Yon. And then, water ice or yung ice. And then, etc. Next is the ionic solids. No? So, the unit cell contains particle with whole rather than particle charges. So, ionic solid is, di ba, from the word ionic, kung ina-remember nyo yung general chemistry nyo from your high school, ionic means it's a bonding between a metal and a non-metal. So, yun yung ionic. So, ionic solids typically have high melting points and low electrical conductivities. So, ionic solids, so kapag sila ay in a solid form, mababa yung electrical conductivity nila. Pero once na sila ay mag-melt, tataas na yung electrical conductivity nila because naghihiwalay na yung mga charges natin. For example, si NaCl. Si NaCl, for example, or si salt, ayan, si sodium chloride is kapag solid salt siya, tapos kapag kinuryente mo siya at hinawakan mo yung solid salt, hindi ka makukuryente kasi hindi sila nagko-conduct ng electricity. Pero once na malusaw or mag-melt yung NaCl, ang mangyayari dyan, magiging good conductor of electricity na sila. Kunyari, lusaw na yung NaCl na or yung asin na yon. Tapos kapag naglagay ka ng kuryente doon, makukuryente ka na kasi nagkakaroon na ng individual charges, di ba? So yung charge, yung mismong yung mismong nagkakandak ng electricity. So third is ionic compounds are hard because only a strong external force can change the relative positions of many trillions of interacting ions. So yung mga examples natin ng ionic solid is the table salt, ay mga baking soda, lye, and then bleach. Fourth is the metallic solids. So powerful metallic bonding forces hold individual atoms together in metallic solid. So pag sinabi natin metallic solid, it is a bonding or nagbaband yung two different metals. For example, copper and then magnesium. So pareho silang metals, di ba? So pag nagkaroon sila ng bond, ang tawag sa kanila ay metallic solid. So the properties of metals, so syempre high electrical and thermal conductivity sila. Sorry. And then luster or makinang sila. And then syempre, malleable sila. So results from the presence of the delocalized electrons. Dahil sa mga delocalized electrons na meron sila, may kakayanan silang maging malleable. Kapag sinabi nating malleable is, di ba, napipiyot. So next is metals have wide range of melting points and hardness. So different metals have different melting points and then boiling points. No? And then syempre, iba-iba yung hardness nila. It depends sa kung ano yung element na present doon sa metallic solid na yon, which are related to the packing efficiency of the crystal structure and the number of valence electrons available for bonding. Then next is, I don't know kung ito yung last, next is the network covalent solids. So dito naman, strong covalent bonds link the atoms together throughout a network covalent solid. So the network covalent solid is just like the molecular solid. But in this case, they are bonded na naka-form sila ng network. And then yung yung most common example natin for network covalent solids is carbon. So si carbon, may kakayanan siyang mag-form ng network with each other. So ibig sabihin, carbon, 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 carbon. So puro carbon na yon. And then, hanggang sa mag-form siya ng tinatawag natin na network covalent solid. Si carbon, marami siyang types. Pwede siyang maging graphite, and then pwede siyang maging diamond. Actually, si graphite is pure carbon and then si diamond ay pure carbon. Ngayon, ano yung kinaibahan nila? Bakit iba yung itsura ni graphite? Bakit itim lang siya tapos si diamond ay luster siya? 'Di ba? So, yung appearance nilang dalawa nagkakaiba sa layers or sa layering o sa may network na meron yung si diamond. Kung papansin niyo dito sa may diagram, si graphite ay isang linya na nakaganon lang si graphite. Yung mga carbon ay naka-linearize lang or naka-flat, 'di ba? And then for the sorry, for the diamond is naka-network naman sila ng naka-network sila. Kung papansinin niyo, magkaiba yung kanilang yung kanilang bonding. So meaning, iba na rin yung properties na meron sila. So yung density natin for graphite is 2.27 gram per cubic meter, and then for diamond is 3.51 gram per cubic meter. So, anong nangyari, nagbabago yung density nila depende sa may bond nila. And then for hardness, syempre, mas soft si graphite kasi mas madali siyang madurog compared kay diamond, di ba? Di ba nga sabi nila, yung diamond is the hardest, ano, hardest substance na meron tayo dito sa Earth. Yun yung sinasabi nila. And then for the melting point, same lang sila ng melting point, 4,100 Kelvin. No, pareho lang sila ng melting point. And then for the color, syempre, yung graphite ay black. And then for the diamond, it is transparent. And then for the electrical conductivity, high siya pag sa graphite along the sheet. 'Di ba? Si graphite ay may kakayanan mag-conduct ng electricity kahit hindi siya metal, kahit non-metal siya. And then of course, for diamond, wala siyang kakayanan na mag-conduct ng electricity. Ngayon, ano yung factor na nakakaapekto doon sa may conductivity na meron sila? It is because of the structure or yung pagkakabit-kabit ng mga carbon atoms na nandito. Kung mapapansin nyo, nakalinearize sila. So, ibig sabihin, the flow of electrons will be easier compared doon kay diamond. And then for the enthalpy for combustion ng graphite is negative 393.5, and then for the diamond is negative 395.4 kilojoule per mole. And then yung enthalpy of formation nila is 0 for graphite and then 1.90 naman kay diamond. So, si graphite, kino-consider natin siya as a standard state. So, sorry. So, dito, another supplementary video na kailangan nyo panoorin. So, next is the amorphous solids. So, amorphous solids are non-crystalline naman. Diba, kabaliktaran siya ni crystalline solid. So, many have small, somewhat ordered regions connected by large disordered regions. So, charcoal, rubber, glass, and some familiar examples of amorphous solid. Kung titingnan nyo, diba, ang glass, mukha siyang crystalline solid, pero that is amorphous. Kasi kung papansin mo, titingnan mo mabuti ang glass, hindi naman siya pantay-pantay. Diba, may mga glass na may times na yung glass, medyo siya, concave or medyo convex. Parang ganun siya. No, minsan yung mukha natin, yung reflection natin sa glass ay hindi tama. 'Di ba? May ganun. Minsan malaking O, yung isang gandong part malaki, 'di ba? May mga ganun. And then syempre yung rubber is amorphous solid, and then charcoal. Ano pa ba yung mga example natin ng amorphous solids? Marami tayong example ng amorphous solids. For example, yung wood. Yan. Mga amorphous solids yan. So, eto yung mga example natin ng mga solids. So, for etong letter A, ang tawag natin dito ay cristobalite. Or, ayan, crystalline siya na silicon dioxide. And then for this letter B, ang tawag dito ay quartz. So, both of them are an example of an amorphous solid. Next is the crystal structure. Ayan. Kung magtataka kayo kasi kanina ko pa binabanggit kung ano yung lattice. So dito i-define na natin siya. So crystal structure is the manner in which atoms, ions, or molecules are spatially arranged. So for example, ito yung mga molecules natin. Tingnan natin tong diagram. Ito yung molecules natin. So, ayan. Ang lattice point natin ay yung mismong nasa sulok. And then yung box na yan, ang tawag dyan ay unit cell. So later on, pagdating natin sa lab part or laboratory part ng crystals, didiscuss natin kung paano i-compute yung density niyan. So meron pa rin tayong computation about dito. So lattice means a three-dimensional array of point coinciding with atom position or yung mga sphere center na yan. Ang tawag sa kanila ay lattice. So, a unit cell is the basic structural unit or building block, ayan, yung building block na yan, yung small portion na yan of the crystal structure and defines the crystal structure by virtue of its geometry and the atom positions within. No? So, ang kadalasan kasi, ang kinocompute natin na density for this part ng solid na to ay yung unit cell. No? So, eto yung crystal structure. Ayan. So, how do crystal work? Ayan. So, search nyo na lang din to sa may YouTube. So, another supplementary video for the lessons natin sa crystals. So, next is the imperfection and defects. Diba? Lahat naman ay may defects pagdating sa solid. So, crystal imperfections are lattice irregularities having one or more of its dimensions on the order of an atomic diameter. So point defects associated with one or two atomic positions. Dalawa yung pwedeng maging defect. First is the vacancy. Ayan, kung makapapansin nyo dito sa may diagram, nagkakos ng defect yung vacancy, of course, di ba? Kapag ganyan na may vacant, mas mataas yung chance na mas madali siyang masira. Kasi meron siyang vacant, di ba? Meron siyang puwang doon. So, mas brittle siya. So, a vacancy is a point defect which vacant lattice site or missing atom from the atomic site. Ibig sabihin, may nawawala. It may be formed during solidification or by the atomic rearrangement. Next is the interstitial or self-interstitial na defect. So, ito siya. Yung bigla na lang may sumusulpot, kabaliktaran ni vacancy. So, it happened to an atom from crystal if it positioned in an interstitial site between the matrix atom. So, yun, may bigla na lang sumingit doon kahit na dapat walang nakasingit dito sa may part na to. So, next is the eto, application lang to. So, next is the X-ray crystallography. So, X-ray diffraction refers to the scattering of X-rays by the units of a crystalline solid. So, the scattering or diffraction patterns produced are used to deduce the arrangement of particles in a solid lattice. So, ito, example lang naman to ng application ng crystal. So, meron tayong X-ray tube. So, ito yung ray natin. So, papasok siya doon sa slit. And then, yung X-ray beam natin ay yung mismong crystal and then yung shield. And then yun yung photographic plate nung mismong solid natin. So, ganun lang naman siya. So, after nito, ang kasunod natin is crystals naman. So, may mga computations tayo doon. So, hanggang dito na lang muna yung part 1 natin for material science and engineering. So, sa may part na to, ito yung yung pauna, and then yung susunod na topic is for the laboratory, which is the crystals naman. Doon naman tayo magko-compute. So hanggang doon lang muna tayo. Thanks.